how did you do it? $9.25 on average.
Our formula, it was just brain dead simple, 50, 40, 10.
Brian Tibbs has one of the most unique success stories that I have ever heard. He went from supporting his entire family on $9.20 an hour as a missionary in South America for 16 years to retiring a multimillionaire with a massive real estate portfolio that he managed 5,000 miles away in the US. Today, he's gonna share his secret and simple formula for building generational wealth, even on minimum wage. And we're doing something neither one of us has done before with a surprise twist that's gonna blow him away, because we're gonna do all of this while giant fans push us 20 feet up in the air on this indoor skydiving adventure. Oh my God. All right, Brian, you have a really interesting story that I have never heard before. So you started investing in real estate at 19, but then you became a missionary for 16 years, and you started investing your missionary funds while you were making $9 an hour. I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of millionaire missionaries.
I don't know any either.
So can you share with me why you decided to start investing in real estate in this way when you're 5,000 miles away from the US in South America, making less than minimum wage?
The missionary work didn't have anything to do with making money. And I could have made a lot more, but when we received donations into the nonprofit, we basically put it back into the nonprofit, right? Kind of like a business operator, right? I knew that there was not going to be any pension funds or retirement funds or any golden parachutes like you have in corporate America when on the backside of the mission work. So I just knew in order to take care of my family and have a dignified life after whenever that was going to be over, I had to do something proactive about it. We've seen so many missionaries give their lives and come out on the other end with nothing.
It's totally broke.
And I just didn't want to do that to my family.
What would you say to someone who's like, I really want to serve and I want to give back, but does that require I have to sacrifice everything?
One of my biggest, I'll say, frustrations about serving God or serving the church or serving in any capacity is this idea that I have to be broke. To be Christ-like is to just suffer needlessly from start to finish. Who deserves the best tools, the best technology, the most resources, the most money? Who deserves that? The people who are trying to make an impact in this world, or the people who are only concerned about their own bank accounts?
Can you share with the audience, like, how? That's what they're asking. That's what I'm asking. How did you do it? $9.25 on average.
Our formula, it was just like brain dead simple, 50, 40, 10. So we always set aside 50% of every dollar that came in, whether that was paycheck from the nonprofit or that was some profit that came in from an investment. 50% for spending. We always set 40% to go back into investing. So even if we sold a building, we would take 40% of that proceed and throw it back in for investing.
Nice.
And then 10% to give away to make the world a better place. That was our formula. And I always tell people that building wealth just takes two elements, right? And it's the same elements that are required to form diamonds. Time and pressure.
I love that.
So time is the same. So, if you have a lump of coal that can turn into a diamond and you just set it there and it's just sitting there for a million years, nothing is going to happen. It's still going to be coal. But if you have time plus you put pressure on that diamond or on that coal, that's what turns it into a diamond. And pressure is, okay, so what is it in our context? Time is still just time. Pressure is focusing on the return on investment. The whole idea that we need to save a certain percentage of our salary, it's actually eroding away with time because inflation is higher than your savings rate.
Inflation monster.
Yeah, it's setting you behind. And what you want to do as an investor is just get better and better at pushing those returns higher and higher. And in the end, diamonds.
All right, are you ready?
I guess so. We're going to do it.
I might have a little surprise for you.
Okay, what's that?
Okay, you know how you said you really love heights?
I didn't say that.
Okay, I VIP upgraded us to the highest flight. Hope you enjoy.
She's doing the high one. I'm staying in the car.
I just get like a little nervous.
That's a lot of wind.
Oh my God. How is he? Oh my God. Oh my gosh. All right, I was thinking about your journey and I wanted to know, like, what are some of the biggest fears or money shifts that you had to make to go from like a frugal missionary mindset to a wealthy millionaire?
I have a document in my Google Drive from 2018 that's titled, Should We Retire? And inside the thing, our investments were generating 3 times as much as we were spending for that year. And I still didn't retire until 2021. Partially because I was afraid of losing that safety net, even though it wasn't very big, but just that consistent deposit going into your account. I wish I had made the decision earlier. Probably one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made. It's not the nonprofit work that was the issue. The issue was being reliant on that small source of revenue that was coming in and just not having the guts to take that leap. Ever since we took that decision, we've been able to really accelerate our wealth building journey.
I imagine that your journey to becoming a millionaire was very lonely in the missionary world. So what were some of the challenges or struggles that you faced with having the right people around you motivating you, or even having the wrong people around you that were really not wanting to see you expand?
Interesting question. So very lonely. In the mission field, you don't talk about money or politics. When I finally decided to call it quits, I had several of people that I worked very closely with say, what are you going to do next? Nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Well, how are you going to pay the bills? No, the bills are taken care of. And not just like, what? I had the privilege in my position of being the CEO and the co-founder of the nonprofit that I spent about half of my time raising funds. And so I was surrounded with very successful people. And I had one guy, one of my favorite donors, he would see one of my financial reports because I would always report back how their investment in us had performed, right? And one time he just kind of leaned back in his chair, you'd be a good businessman, Yeah. And I just thought, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Well, isn't that interesting? So in the missionary field, you're not allowed to talk about money, but it's the one thing they need to serve their mission. Here you are in this dichotomy of like people who don't want to talk about money, and it's not about the money, it's about the mission.
Yeah.
And then you have the people that you're fundraising millions of dollars. Yes. I know you successfully raised a lot of money for your organization. So you want to use the resource of money that they've made to go make a difference.
Yeah, there's this idea that I have to suffer, and as a pastor, I need to give away my thing to make the thing work. And I just think that's just such a flawed way to look at it, because it's going to make it a shorter-lived mission than it could be if you were willing to accept the blessing that God has for you, right? It's not a sin to receive blessing from God. Even the New Testament, that's clear. It doesn't mean that God's not going to have you go through periods of desert or struggles or without, like you might go some time without, but it doesn't mean that that's what you have to do in order to be a good servant. I think that's just such a mistake.
Yeah. Time to get suited up. So I know that family is really important to you.
Yes.
How are you setting up your kids for financial success?
They have been doing 50-40-10 since they got their first dollar of
Really?
allowance. Yes. My oldest daughter just went off to college. She has $30,000 in her investing account.
Dang.
And no debt. Even as a college student, if she gets just a little bit of money, she carves it up, 50-40-10, puts it in her thing. So, for a lot of families, money is a negative topic. Not that we're not real. Sometimes there are struggles and we talk about the struggles, but most of the time the conversation is around buying this stock or selling this stock or buying a house or selling a house, or about how can we make progress.
Yeah.
So that's just normal to them.
Yeah. If you were to give people, parents that are watching right now, 3 topics around what they should be talking about with their kids with money, what would those 3 topics be?
I think the biggest concept that we need to teach our kids is that any money that you receive is not just for me right now. Look at every paycheck, and yes, we have to live. We have expenses. So carve out 50% of that for your expenses. Then look at that other 40% and say, how are you going to provide for me for the future, right? And just don't look at your paycheck as 100% for you. So many people live their lives that their paycheck determines what they do. Stop that. Look at your paycheck and you tell it what to do. Half of you is to spend, 40% is to invest, 10% to give away, make the world a better place.
I love that. I'm definitely officially feeling nervous. It's feeling real. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was just hoping that their session would just go until closing and we could just leave.
No, we were just done. We didn't have to. They ran out of time.
That was nerve-wracking.
He let you fly immediately by yourself.
Yeah, I was like, is he gonna grab onto me or am I gonna go through the roof?
All right, so before the next high flight, I have rapid fire questions. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
How many Airbnbs do you own?
45 units right now.
What's the single biggest booking you've ever received?
$22,000 booking for 3 months.
That's amazing. How many countries have you lived in?
US is the 6th.
Do you think it's better to inherit knowledge or money?
Oh, knowledge, hands down. Because with knowledge, you can get whatever else you need.
What's more important, focusing on your expenses or your income?
Both at the same time, because you can blow your entire income if you don't have a budget.
And then last question, Jana, Andy, or Megan, which is your favorite?
Oh, come on now. I love them all equally and for different unique reasons.
That's the correct answer. Wow, that was a lot of fun.
Oh
Would
my
you do it
gosh.
again?
Yes, I would totally do it again.
Would you jump out of a plane?
No,
We haven't convinced him to jump out of a plane.
that was a blast.
Yeah, that
Thank
was so
you.
much fun.
That was so much fun.
Thank you for being down. All right, so we end every episode with, if you had to start all over again, what are the 3 things you would do to become a millionaire?
The hands down number 1, house hack. You can almost accomplish the 50-40-10 plan if you don't have to pay for rent or a mortgage. Until 2021, I have never lived in a house in the US where I paid the mortgage. The average American pays between 25 and 30% of their income towards their housing. Get out of that bill,
Yep.
invest it, and that's it. Number 2, you need to gamify budgeting. And if you don't like the word budget, just change it to, this is my strategic plan. And then stick to it, be disciplined, that 50-40-10 concept. The third thing that I would say is a form of greed is not being willing to let go of your cash and invest it. Flex those muscles that open your hand to let that money out of your sight, out of your complete control, to begin to multiply itself. Those 3 things, you will be a multimillionaire. That's it.
Amazing. I've had so much fun with you.
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for doing this.
My heart is still
I know.
hard.
I feel like a lot of pressure in my head
there's
from all that.
there's a lot of energy here.
Thank you so much for joining me. You guys, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Check out the links
Yes,
below that we've
absolutely.
got for you, and also check out the next video.